If you want to build a truly healthy relationship, there are certain things you should never do for a man. Even if you care deeply about him, even if you're in love, crossing these lines will only hurt you in the long run. Today, I'll walk you through 5 things you should never do for a guy if you want to keep your self-worth intact and create the kind of love you truly deserve. Let's get started. When you give up who you are just to keep someone around, you lose your personal power. For example, if you say, I want to wait for intimacy until I feel a stronger bond and commitment, but he tries to pressure you otherwise, that's not your problem. It's his. You've got to be willing to let the wrong man walk away so the right one can show up. The first thing you should never do for a man, no matter how much you like him, is to sacrifice your boundaries. It's tempting to bend the rules when your feelings are strong. Maybe you make exceptions just to avoid conflict or to keep him happy. But every time you ignore your own standards out of fear of losing him, you're actually abandoning yourself. People-pleasing usually comes from a fear of being left behind. One of the biggest boundaries in dating is deciding when you'll be intimate. I've coached countless women who slept with a guy too early against their own values, only to feel crushed when he ghosted them afterward. The pain isn't just rejection, it's the regret of betraying their own principles. On the other hand, when a woman sticks to her boundary and he disappears, yes, the sting of rejection is still there, but her confidence and self-respect actually grow. She sees clearly that the wrong man removed himself quickly, freeing space for someone who respects her. If a man can't respect your boundaries at the start, he's not ready for the kind of love you deserve. If saying no to him feels like you need a PowerPoint presentation, a TED Talk, and 5 disclaimers, that's not romance. That's a hostage situation dressed up with better lighting. The second thing you should never do is make him your entire world. Some people are naturally independent. They have careers, passions, and a full life. Others, however, may find themselves slipping into old patterns of losing their identity whenever they fall deeply in love. This is where you have to make a conscious choice about the kind of partner you'll be, even when you're head over heels. Here's the truth. When your whole identity revolves around him, his plans, his hobbies, his schedule, you smother the attraction. The vibrant version of you that he fell for starts to fade into a dimmer version, and the relationship loses its spark. That's why keeping your friendships, hobbies, and passions alive isn't selfish. It's the foundation of long-term attraction. You don't give up yoga, art, or kayaking just because he prefers pizza nights at home. There's room for both. I once had a client who slowly gave up her social life, hobbies, and even family time for her boyfriend's world. By the time the relationship ended, she realized she had lost herself completely. That experience forced her to promise she'd never abandon her life again for a man, and now she dates in a way that honors her true self. Remember, if your social calendar starts to look like a shadow of Dave's availability, that's not love. It's unpaid babysitting with fewer snacks. The third thing you should never do is chase him when he pulls away. For those with anxious attachment, the instinct is to close the gap when he creates distance. But here's the problem. Chasing actually pushes him further. When a man steps back, he's telling you something. Maybe he's avoidant, emotionally immature, not interested in commitment, or simply not into you. But running after him won't change that. The healthiest thing you can do is stand firm in your worth. A grounded man will use space to reflect and then reconnect, not vanish to escape. Now let's clear up a common misconception. Sending one simple text like, "Hey, can we talk?" is not chasing. Chasing is when you blow up his phone, pour your heart out repeatedly, and beg for his attention. That kind of energy repels rather than attracts. Instead, step back and pay attention to his actions during silence. Who is he when things aren't easy? Who is he when intimacy feels real? There's a saying, "Who you are speaks so loudly I can't hear what you're saying." Watch his behavior. That's the truth, not his promises. The fourth mistake you should never make is trying to fix him. If you're dating based on potential, you're not dating the man in front of you. You're dating a fantasy of who you hope he'll become. A friend of mine once dated a guy who showed up to their first date in sweatpants, unshaven, clearly not putting effort in. She brushed it off, thinking, he has other good qualities. Maybe I can polish him up. But trying to change his appearance and habits only bred resentment on both sides. He felt she didn't accept him, and she felt disappointed when he didn't grow into the partner she imagined. When you try to fix a man, you shift into mom mode. And mom mode is the quickest way to kill attraction. He stops feeling like your partner and starts feeling like your project. Many women fall into the trap of coaching their men to be more ambitious, positive, or stylish. But that only leads to frustration. The truth is, you're not supposed to be his builder. You're not Home Depot. The right man comes already assembled. Growth can happen in relationships, of course, but it's inspired, not forced. And finally, the fifth thing you should never do is overinvest in the relationship. Notice I didn't say don't invest, because giving, caring, and contributing are essential. But overinvesting means you're pouring in way more than he is, emotionally, physically, or financially. Maybe you're always the one planning dates, driving long distances, checking in first, or putting in all the effort to keep the connection alive. When you're way ahead of him in giving, two problems occur. Attraction deflates because he loses the joy of providing, and you set yourself up for disappointment when he doesn't match your energy. Think of it like running together. You want to stay in stride, not sprint miles ahead while he lags behind. Many of us were taught that love has to be earned by overgiving or proving our worth. But real love doesn't work that way. Sometimes the best thing you can give is space for him to step up and contribute. One of my clients, who only realized this in her late 40s, said it completely changed her dating life. By making requests and letting men show up for her, she finally experienced what it feels like to receive. Here's the bottom line. If you silence yourself, lower your standards, or shrink who you are for a man, you're betraying yourself. But when you honor your boundaries, maintain your independence, avoid chasing, stop trying to fix someone, and invest in balance, the right man will be drawn to that. You'll create a relationship that's not only strong, but truly fulfilling. Now let me ask you, what's one thing you'd love your partner to bring into your relationship? If you're already in love, what's something he does that you cherish? If you're single, what do you dream of a man contributing to your future relationship? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear them. Thanks so much for watching, and here's to your love life growing stronger every day.